In the quiet village of Kyirima, hidden behind a patchwork of red dirt roads and golden farmlands, lived Cody Bonso, a gifted carpenter with hands that could coax beauty out of broken wood. But despite his skill, life had not been kind to him. Years ago, he lost his beloved wife, Azora, during childbirth. An ordeal that left him shattered and with a baby boy, Ojoko, to raise alone. He never remarried. People said he poured all the love he had into the child. And indeed, Ojoko grew up bathed in affection, discipline, and the scent of freshly cut timber. His pride and joy was his only son, Ojoko. An intelligent, curious boy with a mind sharper than his father's best chisel. Everyone in the village knew Kojo was destined for great things. His teachers praised him, elders nodded at him with pride, and even goats respectfully moved out of his way when he walked to school. But poverty, like a stubborn termite, eats away at even the strongest dreams. When Ojoko reached the second year in junior high school, his father simply could not pay the fees anymore. The school headmaster, sympathetic but firm, had to send him home. His classmates cheered. Not because they were happy to see him go, but because the competition had just walked out the door. Ojoko spent the next year helping his father in the workshop, fixing stools with 3 legs and doors that refused to close politely. Though he worked hard, his mind remained restless. He still read every old newspaper he found, stared curiously at blueprints that sometimes lined the inside of bread wrappers, and used charcoal to sketch buildings on the floor of the workshop. One day, a wealthy townsman named Uncle Sifa came to the village in a shiny pickup truck. He admired the boy's intelligence and enthusiasm and said, "Come with me to the city, Bolenga. I'll help you become someone great. The village is too small for your mind." Cody Bonso was hesitant, but Ojoko was burning with hope. He packed a small bag and left for the city, hugging his father tightly. Bolenga was overwhelming. Cars screamed, people rushed, and everything cost money. Uncle Sifa gave Ojoko a place to sleep. But it came with strings. At first, he made Ojoko run errands, wash his car, and clean his apartment. Ojoko didn't mind. He was grateful. But soon, the errands became strange. He was asked to deliver sealed envelopes to unknown addresses. Parcels wrapped in banana leaves. One day, a policeman stopped him and asked, "What's in the bag?" Ojoko shrugged. The officer looked inside, sniffed it, and stared hard at him before letting him go. The fear stayed with Ojoko long after the smell left his fingers. Eventually, he peeked into a package and realized it was filled with illegal drugs. When Ojoko refused to deliver the next one, Uncle Sifa turned cold. "Then find your own place," he barked. And just like that, Ojoko was homeless. He slept under an abandoned billboard at Wamako roundabout at the town center, using his bag as a pillow and a newspaper as a blanket. But he kept learning. Reading scraps of old books, eavesdropping on students talking as they waited for buses, watching builders from afar. He taught other street kids math using bottle caps and sticks. Some called him Professor Gutter. He hustled at construction sites, offering to sweep or carry cement just for food. But life gave him no handouts. Until a storm changed everything. One rainy afternoon, Ojoko ducked into an unfinished building. Inside, a group of workers was being scolded by a furious man. Mr. Amin, a renowned architect. They had miscalculated a key structure. Soaked but bold, Ojoko stepped forward and said, "Sir, the problem is your center beam, it's 1 inch off the alignment. If you roof it now, it might collapse." Everyone stared. "How do you know that?" Mr. Amin asked. Ojoko picked up stones and laid out a diagram on the floor, explaining with clarity beyond his age. That was the moment everything changed. Mr. Amin offered him a meal, then a place to sleep. Then a job. Ojoko started small, sweeping, making tea, fetching cement, but he watched, listened, and learned. Within months, he was drawing straight lines better than trained assistants. He took evening classes, aced architectural drawings, and impressed even visiting clients. He solved design problems others couldn't, suggested innovations that saved money, and soon began supervising small projects. Years passed. Ojoko earned his diploma, then a license. He was no longer the errand boy. He was the right-hand man of one of Bolenga's top architects. He opened his own firm, Cody Bonso Designs, Building with Purpose. When Ojoko returned to Kyirima years later, it wasn't in rags, but in a Prado with roll-down windows. He came with a mission, to rebuild the same school that once shut its doors to him. This time, it would have spacious classrooms, electricity, water, a library, and even computers. The villagers watched in awe. His former classmates, some of whom once mocked him, stood silently as he gave a speech at the new school's opening. Among the crowd, one face glowed with warmth. Amanda, his childhood crush. She had remained in the village, now a successful shea butter business owner. She had never married. Unknown to Ojoko, she had also always liked him. He found her strength, humility, and grace still intact. Within months, he married her and took her to the city. Not as an escape, but as a partner. She expanded her shea butter trade and became a celebrated entrepreneur. Ojoko brought his father to live with them in Bolenga, a quiet home with a workshop built specially for him. Cody Bonso no longer worked out of a shed but a studio where his craftsmanship was admired. He would often sit with his granddaughter, telling her, "Your father once lived under a billboard." But he never stopped dreaming. Life may carve its path with struggle, but when you carry purpose in your pocket and humility in your heart, even a carpenter's son can build cities. Where you come from doesn't define where you're going. And when the world closes its doors, build your own. And leave them open for others. What is your takeaway from Ojoko's story? Like, share and subscribe for more stories that entertain, inspire and uplift.